Ke a lamogela mo lenaneho le lengwe la Raising Babies 101. Se se latelang mo lenaneho la gompieno, re simolola ka go bua ka postpartum depression. Ke eng, e etsiwa ke eng, le gore basadi ba ikgona jwang. Ga re tswa moo, re dula fatshe le mosadi who wants help from a pharmacist. Gantele, re dula fatshe le yummy mommy wa rona, socialite and businesswoman Avril Albetti. Tsotlhe tse le tse dingwe mo Raising Babies 101 Infants Edition. Raising Babies 101 Infants Edition. According to the World Health Organization, 40% of South African women suffer from antenatal and postnatal depression. There are several types of mental health conditions that can occur in pregnancy. The most common of these are anxiety and depression. One is postpartum depression, a severe form of clinical depression related to pregnancy and childbirth. It commonly includes mood swings, crying spells, anxiety, and difficulty sleeping. In severe cases, suffering mothers may even commit suicide. Affected mothers cannot function properly, and as a result, their children's growth and development may be negatively affected as well. Ke dumedisa kaofela go gae lebitso la ka ke Carol Ofori and le shebile Raising Babies 101. Yaanong gore fa di answers to these questions, we're sitting down le Anele Siswana, a clinical psychologist. Welcome, Anele.
Hello.
So this is a very important conversation that we need to have around maternal mental health. Please talk to me about the importance of mommy's mental health being taken care of.
I suppose research suggests that maternal mental health is one of the things that probably some communities, particularly Black communities, don't understand, especially the part on antenatal aspects. And what you can think of as probably as a mother, it's some kind of pregnancies that just come out of the blue. And again, with the level of what am I going to do? What are the kind of adjustments that I needed there? And what exactly to do with this baby, especially if it was unplanned or certain circumstances around that implicate on one's life. So maternal mental health is really important because you need a healthy mother who is going to be able to manage the pregnancy period with all that comes with it. In the beginning, you highlighted the mood swings, you highlighted every kind of emotion that we need to be considerate of. And then when the baby is there, you need a strong mental capacity to be able to do that. Hence, maternal mental health is very important.
So, Anele, what is the difference between go ba stressed and go ba depressed? A lot of the time, and we don't know which is which.
Yeah, the simplest definition that I always give, clinically, stress is your normal day-to-day kind of stresses. It could be about work, it could be about relationship, it could be about just managing life. And the symptoms of stress are manageable. And there's no kind of impact that does not allow you to be able to do your normal day-to-day functions. However, with clinical depression has a lot to do with an intense sadness. It's an emotion that is so persistent. You feel like there's something that's dragging you down. It affects the quality of your life. And again, when we make diagnoses as clinical psychologists, we always look for what we call a significant level of impairment, that if that sense of feeling so overwhelmed and this deep, constant feeling, again, we look at the period. It could be, if it's probably something that's beyond 2-3 weeks and it goes on without a level where you come out of it, then we'll need to think about depression. And so again, you mentioned things like sleep difficulties.
And ne ke tlo kena mo yone e o go botse gore ke eng di symptoms tse o tlo di shebang gore yaanong ke kena mo depression. Ke eng di symptoms?
Sometimes it's a matter of, if it's really depression, uzobane ufumanisa kunzima ukulala.
Okay.
It can either you struggle to fall asleep, or you wake up in midnight, and then you finding it hard to sleep. Then that will then affect the quality of your energies right throughout the day, because you are tired, you are exhausted. Some people wake up early and all of those things. So sleep is very important. Your sense of relating with the world, you always demotivated. In the context of postnatal depression, you don't have even the drive and the energy for this baby and all that comes with it.
Let's talk about treatment. I'm assuming how only diagnosed postpartum. You're obviously diagnosed by a healthcare professional and so on. But the options that treatment, is it only something you treat to a professional?
So sometimes you find out that it's helpful. I always advise people to see pediatricians, as much as they may not necessarily be counselors, but they have the capacity of helping you on the biological aspect of you as a woman. Leave the gynecological things, but pediatricians are experts in maternal matters, are experts in really helping people understand the pediatrics way of symptoms and how they present in babies. So to get a full understanding of managing those kind of difficulties, a pediatrician has more depth that will then capacitate, probably with things like, we call it psychoeducation, about all of these things, the symptoms and how to manage that when the baby does. Sometimes the baby becomes a trigger of all of these emotions, on how to deal with that. So an integrative approach, as I said, the pediatrician, the psychologist would then capacitate you and understand the deep psychological matters that influence the way that you are. Because what we do as psychologists is to go deeper into what are the possible psychosocial factors that have contributed to that. Sometimes you realize that the reason one is depressed, there's no father, or one has just disappeared, finances, there's been abuse in the process, neglect, and abandonment, that eventually now you have to manage all the demands of all of this that you are having. So a psychologist gives you the tools of how to manage it. Obviously, we will engage with you as psychologists when you are functional.
Yes.
You can imagine talking to someone who's depressed. Ideally, then the other part involves what is, we call it psychiatric medication. That then again, for me as a psychologist, I can't prescribe. I can refer to a psychiatrist who is more knowledgeable, and again, on how to manage, especially in or antenatal process, as to what medication to take
and where to take
what dosage to take, and again, postnatal aspects of that.
I've got you. It's a very complex conversation, but I think the biggest thing from if you are feeling the symptoms, crying a lot, you get angry, you isolate, how yourself, definitely seek out help from your healthcare workers, psychologists, as well as pediatricians, to go through it. And of course, postnatal depression is very, very common. To a few people. It happens to a lot of us, so you're not alone. Some degree of stress is normal during pregnancy. If negative thoughts and feelings are starting to take over and dominate your life, it is so important to be aware of your mental health condition and to seek the help very early. After this. With her big dilemma, we have Andrea Dondolo, and we also have pharmacist Abongile Mbaba to try and unpack this for us. Welcome to you both. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's start with you, Andrea. I know you've got an infant and you have a big dilemma. What is it?
My biggest dilemma is to boost the immune system of my infant. What can I give him? Vitamins or anything that can help to boost his system.
All right. Abongile ke mo wena o kenang ge. Kopa re tlhalosetse gore ditlhare or vitamins or supplements, how do you boost immune system ya ngwana wa infant?
Oh, hi, Andrea. How old is your baby, first of all?
Well, he's 6.5 months old.
Oh, okay. At the time like this, where there's this pandemic going on around the world, it's very important to boost your little one's immune system. But there isn't much on the market because the baby is still very young. So, but you can get things like vitamin C and zinc. I'm sure on the market there will be something that contains both, so you don't have to buy separately. You'll find a syrup that contains both. Yeah, so that will help breaky and connective tissue formation, and it will help. Has your baby started eating solids yet, or still on breast or formula?
He's still on formula, but...
Still on formula?
Yes.
Okay, no, it's fine. So as soon as your baby starts eating solids, from solids, there's also minerals and vitamins that the baby will get from the food. So, but there are things on the market that can help your baby boost their immune system, as I mentioned, such as your zinc and your vitamin C as well.
And now, for mothers who want to go to a pharmacist for a bit of help, what are some of the questions that they should be prepared to ask the pharmacist when they get there?
Some people actually don't know that pharmacists are first point of care. They actually go to their doctors. And we as pharmacists, we provide our information or advice, if I can put it like that, for free of charge. We don't charge anyone. So, if you want to go to a pharmacy, you must first have questions or be prepared to answer questions for how old is your baby? Has your baby started solids yet? Is your baby allergic to anything? Because the last thing you want is for you to give something to your baby and your baby gets an allergic reaction. You must write all those things. And I'm sure you have that Road to Health book that you got before you gave birth. Do you remember the Road to Health book?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that one with immunization. Yes. It's always advisable that you carry that at all times when you go to consult, whether being a doctor or a pharmacist. Because that book carries a lot of information about yourself and the baby. So the weight of the baby is also very important because we don't just give medication. Medication must be given proportional to your baby's weight.
Okay, I think that's an interesting one for you as well there, Andrea, because, when a baby's very small, you have to think about the things that baby might not actually need in their system. So what are some of the things that mothers might look to that little children or infants should not be taking at all? Abongile.
As a pharmacist, you hear stories like, I heard my neighbor gave my baby this for that. It's not advisable to do that. You should not give your baby from hearsay. Say your mother raised you like that, because times are different now. Mm-hmm. You can't give a baby any medication just because you heard it worked for your neighbor or it worked for you when your mom raised you. Mm-hmm. It's very important to always consult at first. Yeah. I don't want to mention any medication, any specific medication, because if I can put it like that, medication is not advisable to be given to babies that young, unless prescribed by a doctor. I don't know if you understand me.
Right, fully.
Yeah. So you can't just give your baby anything that you hear from your mom or your neighbor or your husband or your colleague. Mm-hmm. You must always consult. The last thing you want is your baby to fall ill just because you were trying to boost their immune system.
Okay. And do you have any more questions for our pharmacist, Abongile, before we let her go, Andrea?
No, the only thing I can say is that actually she's just allowed me to feel more, informed. Because most of the time we panic because you're thinking that these little people cannot handle themselves. But from what she's saying, they are quite resilient, and we must just ensure that we consult properly.
Absolutely. So, Abongile, thank you so much on the line for giving us all that information as a pharmacist. We really do appreciate it. And Andrea, for coming in and sharing your big dilemma. I hope it's solved now.
It is totally solved.
You're welcome. Well, there you have it. Pharmacists and their staff and teams are there to help you as an expectant mom. So use their services and also take that book along when baby is still small. They are there to support you during and after your pregnancy. So take advantage of that. It's not always necessary to go to the GP, but should the need come, do go to your general practitioner. Up next is decoding A to Z. C is for craniosynostosis. Craniosynostosis is a birth defect in which the bones in a baby's skull join together too early. This happens before the baby's brain is fully formed. Craniosynostosis usually is diagnosed soon after a baby is born. Sometimes it is diagnosed later in life. Many types of craniosynostosis require surgery. The surgical procedure is meant to relieve pressure on the brain, correct the craniosynostosis, and allow the brain to grow properly. When needed, a surgical procedure is usually performed during the first year of life. Ke nako ya ditaba tse monate. Wena ko gae o ka iponela shopping voucher ya 200 Rand at an exclusive baby retailer. Araba fela potso ena for a chance to win. Is counseling a form of treatment for postpartum depression? Answer yes or no. Araba potso ena mo Facebook page ya rona. Go tseba mang e ka nna ya ba wena o mahlodi. Ke nako ya easy peasy, and gompieno I'm going to show you how to read to your little baby. Make sure that you have some really fun books on hand, like this one. It's a very easy book, and I'm able to animate my voice hore to make it nice and entertaining for wanaka. So, okay, baby, make sure hore you cuddle really nicely le ngwana gago, mo tshware a go utlwe, bila utlwe pele ya gago e duma. Boom, 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 you know? So let me read some of this book for my baby. Ke le bontshe hore when you read, be animated. For example, new faces with braces, new shoes with laces. Make sure you connect to ngwana gago mo shebe mo matlong and make them feel loved, warm, and let them enjoy the words of your book. The more you read the book over and over again, like nursery rhymes and books with funny characters, these babies get to learn voices, sounds, and will even start to mimic you in the future. Babies learn through repetition, so don't be afraid to read the same book over and over and over again. And as baby gets older, encourage baby to touch the book, encourage baby to even try and say some of the words, ooh, ah, and just have fun. Have fun with reading to your baby. Nagitlo salamo, and continue reading to little Mpho. And that's your easy peasy. New faces with laces. New shoes with laces. For today, we have a gorgeous yummy mummy entrepreneur, the businesswoman, Avril Albetti. Hi, Avril.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, so excited. I mean, yummy mummy for days.
Stop that, guys. Stop it. I know no one can believe it, but you know what? I have a whole string of little ones.
A whole string. Let's talk about them. I want to find out more about your kids.
Okay, so I have two little ones, both under 5. One is actually turning 5 now in June, and then the second one turns 2 in June. Then I also have another little one, my brother's one, that I've kind of taken on. So I've got 3 boys. They keep me very, very busy.
Oh, beautiful. And how do you juggle it all? Because, you know, in raising babies, that's the one thing I try and share with all the people at home, just how to juggle parenting. It's hard.
You know, the beauty is, I believe, multitasking really comes as second nature to us women, you know. But with a little bit of help here and there, actually a whole lot of help, I have to be honest with you, it gets challenging, but it's such a beautiful challenge. So you just have to run and get it done, I think.
Run and get it done. I love that. Earlier in this episode, we spoke about vitamins, but specifically immune system boosters for little ones. Do you adopt that? Do you give your kids any immune system boosters?
I actually do. I am also very much a little bit of a DIY queen, so we have started making our own little ones.
Nice. What do you do?
You use gelatin, you use honey, as well as apple cider vinegar, and you put them in these little, they like a perspex little molder, and then you make these little jelly beans, and they serve the same as any little vitamins you can get. I have to give you the proper recipe, though. I know those were not all the ingredients, but you can definitely make your own little immune booster gummy bears for the little ones.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Something else we touched on in this episode is postpartum depression. Did you or know anyone who went through it? And if you did, how did you handle it? And if you know someone, how did they do?
You know, it's so funny. As you said, it actually brings back memories because, you know, depression doesn't really go away. It's more a mental thing, I'd say. So I had it. And the funny thing is when I first got it with my little one, I kept brushing it away. And I'm like, what is this feeling? And I checked on it and I actually had postnatal, right? And it lasted for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Until I had one of my friends that said to me, Avril, you need to snap out of this thing because it's not going to go away. You need to just get over it and really get back into the swing of things. I think it's challenging and it probably stems from, you know, first, baby, you want to do things right. And, you know, there's no instruction manual that comes with being a mommy. You know, once doctor gives you baby and you have that moment, everything kind of changes. So suffering from postnatal depression can be hectic, but if you have a good support system around you, you can definitely beat the depression. And I mean, it's mental. There's no pills, I believe, that you can take for it. You just need to have, and sometimes you can have people around you and still feel like that, because that was the case with me. I had so much help, but I kept wondering, why do I feel like this? What's wrong with me? And then when you dig deeper and you understand that your life will probably not be as it was before and it only gets better, you know, you start accepting that and you go on. And I mean, I am really loving motherhood. I would have a lot more kids if I could afford them all.
Yeah, they are very expensive. I'd also have a school bus, like I'd be a bus driver with all of them sitting in the back. That's how much I love having babies. If you can, why not? Avril, thank you so much for coming and sharing and being so candid and open about your postpartum journey and also just how hectic it is being a mom looking after 3 kids. It's crazy times.
It's crazy times, beautiful, crazy times.
Well, keep looking fabulous while you're doing it, girl. Thank you so much, Avril. Hi, for tuning in today. I want to thank all my guests on the show today. Le also beautiful Avril for coming in today, and you at home. For me, Carol Ofori, see you next time.